Hello, greetings everyone. Welcome to All Things Data, where we explore the power of data science, analytics, and beyond. Guys, welcome to yet another episode. As always, I'm super excited to always be here. But in today's episode, I want us to talk. I want to talk to you, a beginner, someone who is only starting out to learn how to code. You're new to programming, and you're overly relying on AI. Let's have a chat. Let's talk. Okay, so we know that AI is everywhere and AI is growing. It can build whatever that you want to build in a few seconds. You just tell it what you want and it gives you code in just a few seconds. But is that good for you as a learner? Someone who's just starting out, is that good for you? I'm here to tell you that no, don't do that for yourself. Over relying on AI for everything whilst you're still learning to code, it's bad for you. And here's why. You're going to have some great applications built, or not even so great, but then you won't understand your code. And then as the time goes by, you are delaying your learning. And the other thing is that you're going to be a weaker programmer. Let's say you get a job and then they liked what you did on your code. And then when you get into a workplace, you can't even do anything. You can't do anything because you're overly used to AI. And whilst in the process, you learned nothing. Okay, so I want us to go into dangers of relying on AI whilst you're learning to program. Okay, so on number one, I have that AI doesn't teach problem solving skills. So as a developer, as a coder, as a programmer, whatever tech career that you want to get into, number one thing that you always have to remember is that you are there to solve problems. Okay, so you do not want to be relying on AI also to solve your problems. AI is not going to help you there. So you have to know how to solve problems. Okay, as much as AI can generate code, but programming is not just about writing code. Always remember that. It's about understanding problems and coding up to find solutions to your problem. That is what coding is. That's what programming is all about. You're always trying to solve problems. Okay, so here's the thing. If you copy and paste an AI generated code without thinking and without looking at it, you won't understand why it works the way it's working. And when it breaks, you also won't understand why it's breaking. And you won't know how to fix it either. You will continue copy and pasting, wanting to take your code to AI so that it can keep on elaborating, having to fix such certain errors, having to debug. And you do not know how to do it because you're overly relying on what? On AI. Okay, so here's an alternative. Instead of relying on AI, break problems down into smaller steps and solve them manually. Guys, please don't over rely on AI because it doesn't teach you to think. It doesn't teach you how to solve problems. Like, it just makes you dumb in the long run. Like, you become a coder who cannot think, who cannot solve problems, who can't even work. Like, it makes you, instead of being productive, you remain a student. I don't know what to say on this part, but what I know is that you really do not get to become effective. Yeah, you become a coder with no impact. You do not become effective. Instead of progressing, you regress. The more you rely on AI, the more you regress. You don't progress at all. So on number two, AI can give you incorrect or outdated code. You can work on Python, you can work on JavaScript, whatever language that you're using to code or to program. AI might give you an outdated code. All right, so this is what happens. As the years goes by, these languages are also getting updated. All right, softwares are updating, languages are updating, and then you get libraries in those languages that are also updating, and then AI is so behind, and then you are there taking that code and you want to use it. So no, it's not gonna work. because you might find that you're working on an environment that is updated, that requires you to work on a language that is also it's updated. All right, you have to download the latest version, but because you're not giving yourself time to understand these things and you're just solely relying on AI, it's going to just give you things that are outdated, and then you end up not even going further with whatever that you wanted to build. All right, so as AI pulls information from past data, so it means that sometimes it might give you outdated and incorrect solutions. All right, so AI might suggest a method that was depicted in Python 3, okay, maybe 3.0, and then or a security loophole in JavaScript. Anything, as I was explaining to you, AI will just give you wrong things sometimes. It's good, it's a good tool, but then sometimes you find that when it was trained on previous information that doesn't work now, or the information that it has now, it might not work in the next 3-6 months, because hence I'm telling you that softwares keep upgrading. Okay, so the information that normally you get on AI might not be as updated and up to standard with the current softwares that you might be using. Okay, so here's the thing. Before you can just always keep using incorrect code from AI or whatever it is that it's outdated, always verify AI generated code by reading official documentation and trying to understand each line of your code. Python is always giving out their current documentation. JavaScript, so is any other language. They always have updated documentations. Do not be lazy to read. Don't be lazy to read. Go through those notes. Okay, read through that documentation and understand. Rather use the AI to take that documentation and explain what it's saying in simple English if you do not understand what's written on the document. Okay, so it's gonna help you in that way. And going to the other point, which is point number 3 on why you shouldn't overly rely on AI, the dangers, is that you won't learn debugging and troubleshooting, and you're shooting yourself. You won't learn debugging and troubleshooting. Learn to code, guys. So here's the thing. A key skill every programmer must develop is debugging. Okay? If AI does everything for you, you won't learn how to troubleshoot errors. As you code, you're going to see a lot of errors. You will have to debug them. We're going to experience one problem after another, one error after the other. You fix this error, you break something else, and then you have to fix it. But if you always have to rely on AI, it won't teach you how to debug. So be a smart programmer, okay? Be a skilled programmer, because you don't just want to be having the fun of using AI and enjoying the solutions that it gives you, but yet you fail to debug, you fail to troubleshoot, and it's going to frustrate you in the long run that I am unable to do this thing. And the time that you are taking to be busy with AI is the time that you could be trying to learn the basics of your whatever language that you are trying to be good at, be it Python, be it JavaScript, be it Angular, whatever language that you are trying to be good at. Always try to make sure that you understand the basics. Once you learn the basics and then you're trying to advance, the more advancing you are, the more errors you're gonna get, and the more errors you get, the more you learn how to troubleshoot, the more you learn how to debug. Okay, so you really wanna learn those things. So remember that you always have to practice debugging on your own before asking AI. When I was still learning, okay, what I would do is that when I get an error, I would just copy that error, take it to Google, and Google will give you other solutions. Stack Overflow will show you how to debug your code. Just don't solely go to AI for it to solve you or give you a new code that will solve your error. Do all those things, because I understand that you won't know how to debug, but that's how I did it. And I think many of them, even the most experienced developers, they still use this method. You just copy and paste your error, then put it on Google, and it's going to see what other programmers How did they solve it? Because I'm thinking that almost every error that you might get, someone has experienced it before and they have spoken about it and they have gotten people to give them solutions. So go ahead, go to your Stack Overflow, go to your Google and see how people have been managing to debug the certain error that they have got. And that is going to make you a good programmer. You're going to understand your code better. As you go forward, you're going to learn and you're going to understand what is it that you are working with. Okay, and then let's go to the final point that I have for you, that why is it dangerous for you to overly depend on AI. So this one is the one that we are talking about. AI can make you overly dependent. You know, you will be so lazy to think. You will be so lazy to write anything. You become so overly dependent on it for everything. Everything that you do, be it you are studying, you become overly dependent. Even when you have to think of the most simplest things that you have to do, you will depend on AI. It takes away your ability to think. It takes away your ability to reason. It takes away your ability to find solutions on your own. All right. Whereas AI, it has to be a tool that you use when you are stranded and you really need help. But once you overly depend on it, it takes away your intelligence. It takes away your thinking capacity. That's what AI does to you. All right. So if you rely on AI every time you write code, you won't develop real confidence as a programmer. You will not develop the real confidence. The confidence that you get as a developer when you learn to code, you won't get it. There are many people that have learned the basics of programming. They have learned the basics of coding to a point that even if they know how to code in C# and then you show them a program or a code in Python, they can explain to you what the problem is, even though they cannot write it for you, but they understand what you are facing and what the error might be stating that you should do, because those people have learned and given themselves time to understand programming, to understand the basics of whatever languages they're trying to master, to understand programming itself. Okay, so you really need to have the confidence of being a developer, and that is done by not overly depending on AI, but constantly learning how to code and constantly taking yourself back to the basics. You have to master the basics. Okay, so here's the thing. Imagine yourself being in a coding interview or on the job where you can't use AI. What do you do then? And I have seen most people go to interviews and they just give you a board if you're applying for a junior position or whatever, and they just give you a board to say, write something for us. That time you don't have AI, and that time you gave them your work that is super splendid and it has got this brilliant code that you know nothing about, and they're just waiting for you to just write one line of code, but you can't do it because you don't have AI. All right, so don't overly depend on AI to learn how to code. Right, I hope you hear me. I'm not saying AI is bad. I'm not saying don't use AI at all, but I'm saying don't overly depend on AI to learn to code. Okay, so here are some of the things that I think you should do instead of just overly depending on AI. Okay, number one, you should learn by doing, not just watching or copying. I've once shared that if you want to learn, do a lot of watching YouTube channels that people do teach to code. Yes, most of people learn on YouTube. Whilst you're watching there by YouTube, don't just watch what you're doing. All right, and then once you're confident, do things alone and practice them over and over again. Okay, so follow tutorials whichever you want to follow them, and make sure that you build projects on your own. And then once you have built the projects on your own, you know that you can start going through them again until you understand each line of code, what is it doing and why is it there. That's how you learn. Okay, and the other thing that you should do instead of overly depending on your AI, number two, use AI as a learning assistant, not a shortcut. I said this before, that you'd rather take whatever that you have and give it to AI rather for AI to give you something from scratch. Okay, it's like a mathematics teacher. When you're just copying everything that the teacher is doing on the board and you never practice it, you will never understand how they got to the solution. You will see all these different steps that are done, and then there's a solution, there's an answer, but you will never understand what is happening. The same happens with coding. The same happens with programming. Learn to code your lines. Learn to code and understand your line of code, line by line, step by step. You become a powerful programmer. You become a powerful coder as the time goes by. You really want to understand what you are doing, okay? And the shortcut, you're just gonna take code from AI and copy and paste it. You are going to regress instead of progressing. I repeat, you are going to regress instead of progressing. Don't over rely on AI. And the other 3 points that I think you should do is that practice debugging without AI first. I mentioned it earlier that normally what I will do, I will take the error, copy and paste it to Google, or check on other platforms like Stack Overflow. Go to other platforms where they've got an environment of coders and try to ask questions, okay? How can you solve this? And before you ask those questions, make sure that you have tried it first on your own. And if you keep failing, I understand it gets frustrating. Go and ask and see how others did it. Then when you have seen that you had tried all things and it's not working, you can then resort to AI and then ask it to explain every step of the way that it gave you the solution, whatever that it is that you will be doing. But let AI be your last resort, okay? Because when it starts giving you solutions and explaining why the solution is like that, it starts opening your eyes. You start understanding better, unlike it solving it for you and you don't understand anything, you don't understand the steps that you were taking. Like, you just become blank. You see nothing, but yet you can see the program running, but you understand nothing, okay? So you do not want to be that kind of programmer. You want to be a pro, you want to be a skilled employee, you want to be a skilled programmer yourself, and you want to have all the confidence that you can get as a programmer, okay? The last one that I have for you of something that you can do instead is building small projects without AI help. There's a bunch of many projects that you can do. Check on Google. You can do calculators, you can build games, whatever that you want to do. There's a whole lot of them that you can do. Try to work on them. Watch YouTube tutorials and see whatever that you're trying to build. Work on it, work on it, work on it. And another thing is that remember that you do not learn these things in one day. Just the same way as you're trying to lose weight, it doesn't happen in one day. So with learning how to program, it doesn't happen in one day. Learning is a continuous journey. Even people who are skilled and are professionals, they're still learning even today. So don't be too hard on yourself. Keep learning. Okay? Keep learning. Make sure that you progress. You will then realize 3 months later that whatever project that you started with zero knowledge, you now can explain it like a pro, because you'd have given yourself time to understand it. Okay, you would have given yourself time to make it your baby and you own it. Okay, though it's someone else's program, you have seen them do it online, but the minute you start owning it and understanding it as your own, you have so much pride within yourself that you have built projects that you can explain, you can understand. All right, so yeah, that is it. I have come to the end of this tutorial for today. I hope that we enjoyed the chat, guys. Please do not rely on AI. And if you found this tutorial to be the best thing that you've ever had, please do click on that subscribe button. Do like, do share your thoughts, do comment. Do you use AI? I hope your answer is gonna say no. No, I don't use it anymore. You can start using it only when you need it for assistance. Okay, AI should be your helper. I want it to sink in, because I don't want you to regress. I want to see you progress, and I want to see you grow as a programmer, someone who's just starting out. I really want to see you grow. I really want it to see you being skilled. Always upscale, always reskill. try it over and over again. Okay, enough of talking. Please click on that subscribe button. I know that I speak a lot. Please do subscribe, guys, and click on that like button, and if you could, please do comment what do you think of this video. Yeah, that will be all from me for today. We'll meet again next week, same time, same place. Bye.